Good morning everyone, Chris here from Stamping. Thanks for joining me today, and if this is the first time you're joining me, welcome, and I hope I can inspire you and show you some different ideas. Today I'm going to be introducing to you one product from the new mini catalogue that goes live tomorrow, and that is a set of beautiful decorative masks that I've been using quite a lot, and I'm also using the Bird's Eye View, which is such a cute stamp set. I am only going to make one card today, just because there's a few different elements and ideas that we're going to be working through, so just the one card. And yeah, let's get stamping. So I'm going to turn the camera over and I'll be right with you. Zoom that in a little. Okay, hopefully that's all good. Okay, so the Abundant Beauty Decorative Masks are in the new mini catalogue, and they are just gorgeous. So this is the one that I'm going to be using today. It's not autumn here in Australia, it is spring, but I just wanted to use the leaves on this one for the project I'm going to do today. There's some snowflakes, if you know, they're great for, I guess, not so much for Australian summers, but still useful. And this one is great for backgrounds. And then I've got this gorgeous, this is a set of 4 that work together. So I might use those in a different video on another day. That's just one of a catalogue full of absolutely amazingly beautiful products. Okay, so we're going to be using this one today, but I'll put that aside for a minute. The other thing I'm using are the watercolour pencils, and I'm going to be using those with the Wink of Stella. And I just wanted to show you that technique and how to create some watercoloured images that are a little bit sparkly and fun, and using the Bird's Eye View. So I have actually pre-stamped and fussy cut a little bird, the branch, and a couple of leaves, which I will come back to. So I'm going to colour those. I'm going to, first of all, maybe I'll do the leaves first. And I am stamping in our classic ink, so the water-based ink. So I'm not using anything special, just a standard ink. And in this case, I'm just going to do a couple in Mossy Meadow, just onto a scrap of some white. And my branch and the bird I have stamped in early espresso ink. Okay. So I'll start with the branch, I think, and I'm just going to colour. I've got some early espresso, I've just chosen some random colours, and I'm just going to very quickly put some colour down onto all of these images. I'm just working the dark where I think there would be some shadow. And I've got I think that's Cajun Craze, I think I've just added there, just for a bit of something a little different. And now I'm going to come over that with the Wink of Stella, making sure that there's enough liquid in the brush tip. And it's the liquid that blends those colours in and gives it a nice washy watercolour look. Alright, so there's my branch. Just going to take the excess off the Wink of Stella. Okay, so the leaves, again, just some of the darker green in through the centre and down at the base. Some of the lighter green coming out from the darker green. And just a touch of Daffodil Delight to add some yellow highlight there. And again, so Wink of Stella, and just pulling from the dark out to the light. And we have some leaves, nice and vibrant. Taking the excess off there. Okay, so the little bird, I'm going to colour, I've added some grey. So I've got Early Espresso, a basic grey. I'm going to put Early Espresso mostly on the tail. Maybe with a tiny bit of grey in there. I'm going to, so colouring just on the side of the pencil and very lightly in the grey to put a wash over the bird. It is easier to do this when before you've actually fussy cut it, but just for the sake of time today, I decided to do this, to cut them before I started. Okay, so we've got a bit of lines there from the pencil. And you can just keep going over it until you're happy with what that looks like. I'm probably going to leave this part grey, and I'm going to add a little touch of the Early Espresso into bird's head around its eye, just for a little shading to make those areas a little darker. I'm going to blend those areas up first. I'm going to start with the grey. So the Wink of Stella obviously does add a little bit of shimmer. It's got that little bit of glitter in it, but I think that makes the little bird nice and pretty. Shiny little birdie. So if you want to, you can go back and add a bit more colour. And think for his wing I'm going to give him some colour, some brighter colour. So I've got some Coastal Cabana here. I'm going to lay down a little more colour, so I'm just pressing a tiny bit harder and going over a little more, a few more times to add more layers of colour. And some blue in between. So who's used watercolour pencils? I know a lot of people find them a little challenging, so I'd be really interested to hear whether you have used watercolour pencils, whether they're something that you enjoy using on your projects. Personally, I love them. But yeah, they are something I think you just have to have a play with and try out different techniques with them. Alright, so going back over these again with the Ink of Stella. Now I'm not really worried if the colours kind of blend into each other. So I'm giving the Ink of Stella a bit of a squeeze and getting a bit more of the liquid down. And just pulling those colours out. Okay. So there's our bird and our branch. I have done one lot of leaves before. I'm just going to quickly cut these ones out. And then we can get into putting a card together to put the bird onto. Alright, there we go. So we'll pop those over to the side. I've got a basic white card base, so this is the thick basic white, and this one is 10.5 centimeters by 29, and then scored so that the base is 10.5 by 14.5 centimeters, and then a white layer that is a centimetre small all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to start off by putting down some of our masking paper. I'm going to use the grid lines on the grid paper just to make sure that that's fairly straight. So about there, I think. As you can see, I've already been playing with this particular piece. You can use them over and over again. Okay, and I'm using some Azure Afternoon ink and a blending brush. I'm just going to move all those pencils out of the way. It's quite an intense colour, which is what I was looking for. I want to kind of brighten this up and make the colour along the side here pop. So not sure if you have seen the post that I put up on Facebook yesterday. This week I'm using a really simple card sketch, and I'm focusing on that sketch so that you can see different ways of using it. And this is another card that uses that same sketch. Okay, we've got some splodges there because I didn't take some of the ink off before I moved down there. That's okay. This is very splodgy and never mind. Okay. So I'm going to use this decorative mask, and I'm going to pop that over. Don't think it makes any difference what side you use. I'm just going to pop that over that area that we've just put colour down on. So now very, very carefully taking that masking paper off. It does tend to stick quite strongly. Very tacky. Okay. So there's some tone on tone on the side there. I'm now going to, sorry, I'm just bumping the camera there. I'm going to work out where I want my branch to be. And then using some Mossy Meadow ink, I'm just going to add a few more of these leaves kind of in this area here. Just very, just a small amount of ink. I don't want them to be too dark. Okay. So the only other thing that I'm going to stamp today is a sentiment. I'm using this sentiment from Let's Set Sail. It's one of my favourites. I think it's just lovely. And it's the Hope It's Your Best Day Ever. I'm going to pop that up here. I don't think that was very straight, but not to worry. There are always ways to cover things up. So I'll probably stamp that on another piece and then adhere it over the top. That's alright. Alright, so just popping some adhesive on the back of this layer and adding that onto our card base. I'm going to pop that down there. So you could put dimensionals behind the branch and leaves if you wanted to do that, but I am going to glue it down. And then I'm going to get all these little leaves, and same thing, just dot some glue and pop them around randomly. Okay. And our lovely little bird. I'm going to pop some dimensionals onto the back of the bird. And just pop him up there. So that's my card for today. I'll probably just glue those little feet down just to keep them attached to the card. What do you think? Maybe it needs some couple of these are the classic matte dots, so I might just pop a couple of those down as well. Okay, so I hope that gave you some ideas today. Thanks for joining me, and happy stamping, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.